with theastrologyaddiction.com, and thank you so much for watching. Today's video is going to be a natal chart mini reading on Shia LaBeouf. Now, I am a pretty, decent fan of Shia LaBeouf. I've really enjoyed a lot of his movies that he's been in and films, and I know we just watched the one with him and his father that I think he helped direct, which I found to be really interesting because you get kind of a back history about Shia. But I did see he was trending on Twitter for some unfortunate things today, and that was a dispute with his ex-girlfriend. I guess her name is FK Twigs, and she sues him, accusing him of sexual battery, relentless abuse, and emotional distress, I believe. So I'm not very familiar with her, and I'm a fan of his, but I'm not super familiar with the ins and outs of, his personality. So I also did see that he kind of came out and said that he apologized, or something, that he's been abusing himself and others for many, many years. So, definitely a very sad situation. Now I have his chart pulled up with a whole sign house method. He is a Gemini sun. His moon is in Leo. His Mars is in Capricorn. His rising sign is Aquarius. Mercury and Venus are both in Cancer. And the first thing that I did notice, when you're looking at someone who's famous or with a larger career, is the midheaven. He has a Sagittarius midheaven with Saturn conjunct quite closely, by about 6 degrees to the midheaven. And a lot of times when people ask me, oh, am I going to be famous? Can I be someone who is, known publicly for something? A lot of times I will, I'll say Saturn, Mars, having a malefic on the midheaven is a bit tricky because you might have some type of person or situation that you have to deal with publicly that is, less fortunate or very challenging. He also has Uranus in Sagittarius, and, overall that does show kind of unexpected hardships or people, trying to paint him in a bad light. It can also be that he can just experience a lot of unexpected misfortunes. He can be seen as someone who's a bit erratic with the Uranus there close to the midheaven. He can be seen as someone who is kind of uncontrollable, hard to work with, and maybe even a little bit deceitful, because that sun of his with Chiron in Gemini is with his IC. And so there's a lot of pain from the home life that you see with Chiron so close to the IC. It's an essential part of who he is. And he can kind of, go to that behavior and sulk there and really be like, well, this is who I am. This is where I'm from. This is why these bad things keep happening to me, is because of my lineage. Now, his Capricorn Mars is getting pretty beat up right now, along with his, Venus in Cancer. Capricorn Mars is getting the transit from Saturn, Jupiter, and Pluto in Capricorn. So over the last, year or so, he's been definitely probably dealing with a lot of unconscious things kind of bubbling up for him that he's been, taking out physically in some way, or through his love life, since the Mars is opposite to his Venus, his physical nature and his lust are very tied in. So he might be someone who has difficulty with boundaries in that way, and with separating love from physicality. And that can either be in sex or in just arguing. He kind of ties those things together, and is definitely a very sexual person probably, but also has maybe some issues with being too physical. Having that Cancer, Mercury and Venus as well also makes him highly emotional and sensitive. Someone who is intuitive. Maybe he identifies with women in some way, and he likes to be around women. Leo moons, of course, love attention and love compliments, love to get praise from people. So he can love to be in the spotlight, love to get admiration. And a lot of that, Cancer energy can show that he likes that from women. He likes to have a very, emotional, dramatic connection with a woman. And the Leo moon you know, shows that he is someone who is quite dramatic anyway. You know, overly emotional, someone who definitely puts a lot of weight on his emotions. And if he's going through something harder, might like display those emotions in somewhat of a dramatic way. And his Saturn is the traditional ruler of that Aquarius rising. He has the rising at 29 degrees, which is a little tricky. You know, his rising sign could move if he was born, you know, just a few seconds later to make it a Pisces rising. But that would put Jupiter in his first house. I'm going to stick with the Aquarius rising and say Jupiter is in his second house because he's been very financially successful and probably had an ease of that in some way, maybe through just opportunities. Jupiter does very well in Pisces. So as far as his assets and his finances go, that's a place of, you know, definitely positive earnings for him. He does have a night chart though. His sun is in the bottom half of the chart in Gemini in the 5th house. So again, that Saturn is his most difficult placed planet, and that is with the MC. So I think some of his most difficult and hard, challenging, painful, you know, the no's in his life and the kind of public backlash and public like scrutiny or, you know, things like that can, all of those difficult things will definitely come from career. Now, his most positive planet is Venus in that Cancer. So, you know, his positive things in life can come from those close, you know, connections with people, romance, giving, even like giving to people who are in need, caring for people, nurturing people, and kind of leaning into that more sensitive side to him. Because Capricorn Mars, Leo Moon, Aquarius rising are a bit cold. And I mean, Leo Moon's, you know, warm and fiery, but they're a bit self-focused, focused on the individual pursuit, especially with his Gemini sun, with the IC and Chiron. He's someone who's more probably a bit harsh in some ways, but I think his positive, you know, the more positive things that'll come in his life will come maybe a bit later when he starts to lean into that Cancer side, the feminine, maybe having a family, being able to become more balanced. Venus is all about balance and relationships, you know, being able to work through some of those, you know, more darker sides to his personality. So that is just my mini reading for SHIA LABEOuf. Hoping for the best for his ex-girlfriend and just the kind of tragic situation that they're going through. But I thought his chart would be very interesting to read and to see kind of what is going on for him. So I hope you guys enjoyed this reading. If you're interested in booking with me, my link is in the bio. Have a great day. Bye.